Um, Next things up, let's get to some sports talk, some NBA talk. Something I saw today, an article I saw today about the All-Star returns. Blake, you sent its returns, I think, the fan returns, I think about a week and a half ago. One thing I didn't notice is that Anthony Edwards, and we just did a video on this, Anthony Edwards isn't even in the top 10 when it comes to fan returns for Western Conference guards. Now, I know they're just fan returns and all of that, but the point that the fans, and I know, I don't know who's voting because there were years where Zaza Pachulia, right, had a lot of fan returns because his whole country was voting for him or something like that. But even if things come together in the way I'm kind of looking at things, there is a possibility that Anthony Edwards could get snubbed yet again. I think we all kind of agreed last year he was snubbed. He could have had a couple of guy spots. I felt like if Andrew Wiggins was an all-star, which I'm not taking away from him because he was very valuable to Golden State last season, Ant could have been an all-star. This year, we're kind of back into this position where it's a possibility that he could be snubbed out in the Western Conference again. If you look at Minnesota over their last 7, they've won 6, a couple of quality wins. Last night had a big quality win against the Cavs at home. And then we're also thinking about and looking at his numbers, all career highs. And as a team collectively, they're getting better, even without Karl Anthony Towns. So I kind of, first things first, I kind of wanted to ask, and we know there are going to be a couple of newer all-stars hitting the scene this season. Do you think Anthony Edwards is an all-star this year? And I'm also going to name guys who we could possibly argue could be over him this year. But do you guys think that Anthony Edwards should be in the game this year?
I definitely do, because if you really looked at, like you said, if you look at the Timberwolves, if you look at them over the last month or so, or especially since Karl Anthony Towns has been hurt, he's been keeping them afloat and obviously getting them higher in the Western Conference rankings. So I think because he has a large amount to do with it, I think he should definitely be considered to make the All-Star team. So, yep.
I would agree. Since, like Carl said, since Cat has been out for the last couple of games, he has been putting the team on his back, so to say, amid some lackluster performances by a couple of his teammates, namely their point guard.
Yeah.
But especially not even just looking at that, but I just looked at his stats and I'm like comparing that to some of the other dudes that were picked where that have been like picked above him. He's averaging what 23, 45, 23, 6 and 4 and 45% shooting. That's better than about 4 people on that list.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't understand the criteria, what more he has to do to get on there, but he should definitely be above a couple of people on there.
It feels like the public, and like I said, these are fan returns, but it kind of feels like the public doesn't accept him as an all-star just yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, at the same time, these fan returns are kind of because they got Austin Reeves and Nick Claxton in the top 10. So it's like how serious can you take?
Oh, you don't take it serious.
Very true.
You don't take it serious.
Very true. I'm going to name some guys out west, and I'm going to kind of be like, should this guy be an all-star this year? Because I was kind of debating a couple of people on Snapchat. I had a couple of names. But I'm gonna be like, should this guy be in the game? If you were voting personally, would you vote him in? And these are guys that could potentially be picked over Anthony Edwards. We know a couple of guys are locks here and there. But let's start. I'm gonna start here in Sacramento because I was always interested in this. Did the Kings send out 2 all-stars this year in Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox?
Good question. De'Aaron Fox, I would say, deserves to make it. Sabonis is because what position does he play by heart? He's a power forward.
Power forward.
Power forward. So what other power forwards would go in place of him? Because you still have to, no matter what, they don't go by his positions like they used to, especially when you're getting players on the bench. But you still need a power forward somewhere on the roster. So just power forward is there to pick ahead of him?
Not really any. I can't think of any.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm about to say yes to your question, because I said yes for De'Aaron Fox, but now I thought about Domantas Sabonis. I'm like, it's not any other really power forwards that would probably be ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, it's probably one. So yeah, I'd probably say he deserves them two deserve to be on the team.
Would y'all put Lauri Markkanen ahead of him?
That was another one. Would Lauri Markkanen be voted?
I think so.
Yeah,
I definitely think so. Yeah. Considering what he should win Most Improved this year, and if he doesn't, that's a travesty to the league.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Lauri deserves, especially like what he was doing beginning of the season. Even still now, this dude is he's pulling crazy performance.
Yeah, 25 points, 52% shooting, 41% from three, 9 rebounds a game with, I think I'm looking at like two assists per game essentially, and a steal and a block pretty much. These are all like big career numbers. And if you look at Larry Markkinen, I know I'm kind of shying away from Anthony Edwards here, but when you look at Larry Markkinen, the dope thing about it is we were kind of wondering what type of player he was. You know, he comes in, very highly touted pick, and then there are just these disappointing years. He's showing flashes guy, right? Back when he was in Chicago, and then they just kind of never really came together. Then they phase him out and throw him in Cleveland. He has an okay year last season, and now he's in this situation, and he's playing at a high level. Hell yeah, I think he's an all-star this year, especially out in the Western Conference with Marcus. So
earlier in his career, he definitely showed flashes like of another version, I would say, of Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis. That's kind of who I compared him to. But considering what the numbers you just told me or the stats you just said, he definitely deserves to make it then. Now, will he make it over Sabonis, considering that team is better? I don't know, but it depends how many power forwards they put on the team too. Of course, they're going to put 2 at least, so they probably both are going to make it.
Okay, one more. I want to ask. I know we kind of straying away. Would y'all vote AD to the All-Star game?
Nah, he's not played enough games.
Yeah, nah, but
because they have him on here.
Yeah,
the most recent. They have him on here.
What's his games played? Because that's the only thing I'm concerned about right now is there are a lot of, when I'm looking at the West, there are a lot of guys, or there are really a couple who are like, yeah, his numbers are all-star like, but is he in the game? Probably not, because he hasn't played. Anthony Davis has missed a pretty good chunk of this season. So
he's played 25 games.
Okay, and how many are we out of right now?
Probably 50. He probably almost close to 50.
Yeah, let me look at the standings here. If we look at the standings,
because the Lakers are 19 and 23.
Yeah. So teams have essentially played about 43 games, right? 43, 42 games.
I think between like 43, 45.
Yeah. So he's played 25 out of that many. No.
Yeah, no, because it's still. Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more than half, but still, like, because you got players like Dame. Did Dame miss? Has Dame played enough games to make it?
I think he has. I think Dame has. I think Dame has. He was another, but then, like I said, if you look at guys like Devin Booker, who's missed a major chunk, or Chris Paul, who's missed a major chunk, there are a lot of guys knocked out. So then back to Anthony Edwards.
Chris Paul ain't sniffing off.
Yeah, like even when he was playing, it wasn't all that great. But even though there were years where his points per game numbers were really low, and he still made
they still try to push for some of these players based off their name. Trust me, don't be surprised if Chris Paul gets in some way. I'm telling you, don't be surprised, because they really just be picking these dudes off their name sometimes.
Yeah. Now here's another interesting one here. Desmond Bane. 21 points. 21 points, 44% from the floor, 42% from three. He has been playing over. He missed a chunk, but he's been playing a lot over his last couple. I'm voting Desmond Bane in.
I say yes.
Okay.
Looking at who they have for guards, they got Klay. Yeah, he'll probably take either Klay or Russ's spot.
Yeah, I mean, those guys aren't even considered. I don't even like the point that they're even in the fan votes is ridiculous to me.
But it's the fan.
Yeah.
Would you all pick Klay to go to the All-Star team?
God, no.
I wouldn't.
Because
this is Klay's averages, and this is maybe good for somebody else, but for him, this is terrible. It's 29. It's to basically 21 points per game, but where it gets bad, his field goal percentage is 42%. That is terrible for him.
But
and then from three, he's below 40%.
Now that I'm looking at his numbers, Klay for the All-Star game is arguable. It's arguable.
I think it's some other, but it might be arguable, but I think it's about 3 or 4 more guards, especially you can pick over him.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Well, would y'all vote Booker to All-Star?
I would. If you can pull his games played up, I would. Yeah. He played 29. That's 29 out of about 43.
Yeah. He averaging 27 right now.
There's so many guys who are hurt. That's why Ant will get in because of the injuries. That's tough. Yeah. I have to look at the history. I think we'd have to look at the history of guys who and how many games they played before the break or before the actual vote got returned to see how many games they played. I think 29 is enough. I think we saw a good amount of Devin Booker this season for him to be an All-Star.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of that. This is a hot take, though. I don't know if you all realize this. If Steph never came back this month, he would have missed like 2.5 months of play. You
Yeah.
think he would have made it? I know that's a hypothetical, but I was thinking, no, I feel like I don't know. Because names like that are so prestige, like Steph, LeBron, KD. Like KD's gonna miss a month. The last month of
Yeah.
he's gonna miss January, basically, the rest of
Yeah.
January, and then some of February. So I don't even know if he does make it, if he's even gonna play. But yeah. People always getting hurt around the All-Star break. I feel like it's never afterwards. It's always right before the All-Star break starts. So we don't get to see all the top players against it, like play against each other in the game, in the All-Star game. Because Kawhi, because this is another one I was about to say, my bad, but Kawhi might not make it.
He won't make it.
He hasn't played.
Yep. And even when he has been playing, he's been kind of slow to hit his stride.
Yeah.
I have
Paul George.
He's really.
Yeah. I was about to say, will Paul George even make it? I don't think he's played a lot of games. It's a lot of I don't know with dudes because they haven't played I only played like 25 games or maybe a little bit more than that.
There are even a lot of great guys who are like legit arguments for being first time All-Stars in the West. I have a hot take here. If we gave Draymond Green, this isn't obviously we don't think he was an All-Star last year, but if the NBA could vote Draymond Green to the All-Star game last year and Andrew Wiggins, and I know Andrew Wiggins was dope last year. Quick hot take, I think he's the best defender on the roster for the Warriors, but we'll get to that. That's another thing for another day. But
he is.
If Draymond Green was an All-Star last season while averaging single figures, he did it because Golden State was such a great team. I would argue with that same logic, since the Nuggets are the number one team in the West, I would argue that Aaron Gordon has been an All-Star this year. 17 points, 59% from the floor, 38% from three, and they're the best team in the Western Conference. I feel like if you're the top in your conference, I think you got to send out two guys. And I think Aaron Gordon has been a good rep. I mean, you can even make an argument for Jamal Murray. They can probably send three because Murray's numbers have been pretty good. He's like, 19 a game pretty much with 45% from the floor and 39% from three. So would you guys be cool with sending two Nuggets to the All-Star game alongside with Jokic since they're the best team in the West?
I don't think so. Looking at Aaron Gordon's stats, I feel more comfortable sending Jamal Murray.
Okay.
I feel more comfortable sending him out because he has over his last 6 or 7 games, he has turned it up.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot more comfortable sending him out.
Yeah. I would definitely say I agree with Blake. I don't feel comfortable sending all three of them. Definitely I would send Joker and probably Jamal Murray if I had to pick between the two out of the three. But I don't know if I feel comfortable picking all three to go in there over, I don't know, maybe players like De'Aaron Fox who might be he probably won't start. He'll come off the bench or something like that. Or who else we was talking about? De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis. Players like that. So I don't know if I would pick 3 of them. I know I would pick 2 out of 3 though.
Yeah. Because like I said, I just think I think those guys could because there's so many, like now that I'm looking at things, the Clippers probably don't send away an All-Star this year. The Golden State Warriors, they're going to be, I mean, if Klay gets there, they're probably going to go with 2 All-Stars. The Jazz will go with 1. The Suns will go with 1. So we're minus a lot of guys here. The Blazers, this is a question I asked on Snap. Anthony Simons is putting up career numbers. Would y'all vote him or is it like a not yet type of thing with him?
Probably a not yet based off how young he is. People be looking at stuff like that when they vote, surprisingly.
True.
Like that's your first year doing something and you're averaging just barely over 20 because I think that's what he is. They're going to be like, I don't know. I might pick somebody, like you said, like Anthony Edwards over him or Devin Booker, who's averaging. So we really, I feel like we're in this type of moment. Like we really don't know who's going to get picked because there's a lot of dudes that's hurt. There's a lot of dudes that's just on the rim of making it, but they're not there yet. So I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah, very true.
I put SGA over him because SGA he's been on the threshold. I wouldn't say superstar status, kind of on the threshold of that, but now we're really starting to see just like how good he's been, even though he's been good for the last 2-3 years.
His whole career, yeah.
Especially now. I mean, I would say since he got to OKC, he really starting to like turn it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely take a SGA over the last 3 or 4 people we mentioned. I'd look at him. I'd look at him for sure.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because he's averaging 30, so you got to put him in there most likely.
Yeah,
but so it's a lot. In the West, is really the guard position is so heavy.
Mhm.
Whether you're talking shooting guard or point guard, sooner or later, when you're picking off the bench for All-Star, they just pick guards. Sometimes they don't even care if it's a certain amount of shooting guards or points, because half these dudes play all positions now anyway.
Mhm.
So the guard position is definitely going to be hard to pick from in the
Yeah.
West.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm really high on the Nuggets sending away 3. I'd have to look at Golden State's record and what it was last year at this point. And then if they sent 3 guys to the game, well, they sent 2. They sent 3. They sent 3 to the game. I think that Denver deserves to send 3. I think collectively, if you look at the points per game and the efficiency collectively, it's better between Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon than it was between Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll ask you this, though, but do you think they probably don't? I don't think the league respects that core as much as they did the Golden State Warriors core. That might have something to do with, I don't know, as far as picking them to make the All-Star team. I could be wrong, but it's just something I'm putting out there.
I can think of some cores, though. It's a good argument. Yeah, I can think of some cores, though, that made a run that you kind of had to just acknowledge, like the league wasn't really in love with them, but they Atlanta sent 4 guys to the All-Star game in 2015: Jeff Teague, Blake's favorite player, Al Horford, Kyle Korver, and Paul Millsap, because they were the top team in the East. I just think you have to reward your top team with at least 2 guys in each conference, and they're
if you do that, it would have to be Jokic and Murray. I wouldn't put Aaron Gordon in.
People will come to see Aaron Gordon dunk on somebody, even though he can't get up. He can't get up. He can't get up like he used to. I think it's a little decline right there, but I don't know, because I can argue. I know Joker's. He obviously is an all-star type of player, but I don't want to see him in an all-star game. That's not his thing.
You want to watch him play?
I don't want to. It's too slow. I like to see dunks and 3-point shots from half court and shit.
He's
not his game.
Yeah,
man, he barely get off the floor. I don't want to see that, but he's still an all-star. I'm not saying he's not.
He just hit a game.